All right, we are live. So, welcome to our July team call for Boomerang Wellness. Super stoked tonight to have Mariah White on the call. Her and I connected a year ago. I'm not even actually sure when we connected. When I was in Arizona, I got the chance to meet up with her, and we went for pizza and drinks. Yes, yeah, we went for pizza and drinks and wings. Yes, that's what I remember. And I knew she was a girl after my own heart as soon as we ordered wings. But she is like a light angel on this earth. And if you haven't come across her stuff before, if you haven't seen any of her posts or don't know about her team, Team Bold and Beautiful, they are a bunch of rock stars, and she definitely leads from the front. So I'm super inspired by you daily, Mariah. Mariah's a 1-star diamond coach. She's a success starter. She's a Success Club all-star legend, which can we just, hello, that's a really big deal. That means you're helping people every single month for 24 months in a row. And like I said, co-founder of Team Bold and Beautiful. Mariah is going to bring the heat tonight. I know she is. She's always super passionate and fired up. And I know passion is one of your strengths as a human being. So I'm super excited to learn from you. I've got my notebook ready to go. Hopefully everybody else does too. I'm just going to mute myself, give you the floor. And then if there's time at the very end, we can have a couple questions or whatever. But take it away, my friend.
Aw, thank you so much. That's such like an introduction. I'm like, holy cow, how do I follow up after that? So I am just so excited to be here. Your guys' team is doing such incredible things. Like truly being in week 5 of 6 of 5-star elite is just such a huge goal. And I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you because it's definitely a team effort. So that's awesome. Super proud of you guys. So like Marie said, my name's Mariah White. I live in Goodyear, Arizona. So definitely United States. I know all of you guys usually are in Canada. So I'm excited to kind of get on this call in the first place. I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner. That is like my jam. Tiny humans are my thing. And then I am a fired up health and happiness coach. So that's kind of like my slogan. That's my go-to. That's what I love and I do. And I just kind of talk about it boldly, but I wasn't always there. And so you guys get to know who I am before I start spewing a bunch of content at you. I started Beachbody about 3 years ago, and I was in a very different place than I am now today. So I was overworked. I was overweight. I was suicidal. And I was in a very toxic, physically and emotionally abusive marriage. So I was just in a whirlwind of a whole lot of situation, and I didn't know how to handle it. And I remember my coach reaching out to me, my best friend to this day, Sarah Freed. She just kept saying, you need this, reaching out to me. And it wasn't until I was in a closet 3 years ago. It's so crazy that it's so vivid. I was in a closet. I was holding my husband at the time's 9mm in my hand, and I was done. I was done with life. I felt hopeless. I felt worthless. I felt like I didn't belong here. There was no life. I was a nurse at the bedside, just giving and giving and giving, and I had nothing left to give. And I was in a serious, mind-blowingly awful marriage that was just sucking the life out of me. And I just remember sitting in that closet and just wanting to give up. And then this was at the time where my notifications would go crazy off on my phone, where everything would pop up. And Sarah Freed pops up in my Facebook Messenger. Literally crazy. I was like, what? Why is she messaging me right now? But at the same time, I remember praying and just being like, God, I don't have any more to give. And that message went off. And literally she was like, I hope you're having a good day. And I'm thinking about you, and just know how amazing you are. And literally waterworks. I put down the gun. I text her back. I remember I had $176.12 in my bank account. That was it, because I was living check to check as a bedside nurse. And that is exactly the dollar amount that was needed for a Beachbody Challenge pack. And I signed right up. And I'll never forget that day. It was December 17th of 2015 or 14. And I was just like, let's go. And in that same month, I had signed up December 17th. I decided that I was just going to go all in. I hit Success Club 11. I was like, I'm going. And I have not stopped since. Every single month, I'm just on a mission. And the reason why I'm so passionate about the topic we're going to talk about today, the 4 vital behaviors and why it's so imperative for your long-term goal, is because if you sit there and you think about not Success Club points in the matter of rank advance or hitting diamond or 5-star or any of those other just really not that important things. If you think about Success Club in the sense of a person that you could potentially save, a person that you could potentially help, that makes the biggest difference. That is what it's about. And I think about that moment where my coach decided to message me, and I had ignored her for over a year and a half. She decided to message me that day, and that day changed my life. And it set the tone for 3 years down the road. Here I am today. And if it wasn't for Beachbody, I don't just say it changed my life, it saved my life. I lost 35 pounds and I've kept it off since. That was incredible. I did hammer and chisel. I lost 35 pounds in 60 days. That is still my soulmate workout. I love that program. I no longer was pre-diabetic. And that's a big deal because my dad struggled with type 2 diabetes. And once I got him on Shakeology, it was a wrap. His endocrinologist can't stand me because I'm like, nope, no more diabetes meds. We're doing Shako. This is how it's happening. And he's like, now, because he has to call me Dr. White, he's like, all right, like I have to listen to you, but I'm passionate about what I do. So moving into the content of tonight, it's talking about the vital behaviors. And I know you're like, oh my gosh, Mariah is going to talk about the 4 vital behaviors. I don't need to hear that again. Carl Deichler talks about it all the time, but it's in a different way. It's the 4 vital behaviors and how it's going to project and propel you forward to your long-term goals. Think about not your why. I don't want to know your why. Your why it's important, but it's not what's going to get you past those tough times. I want to know what you want. It's simple. What is it that you want a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Is it a vacation home? Is it paying off your debt? Is it being able to live a life by design so that you can go to every single one of your kids' baseball games or soccer games? Is it you just being able to have a mommy staycation with some of your best girlfriends and you host it? Like whatever it is that you want, that's what you need to focus on. And that'll drive these 4 vital behaviors. So we all know what the vital behaviors are. Be a product of the product. And it was so funny. I was sitting here with my coach, Tori. She actually came to my house to help me move my desk in because I finally officially got a CEO desk. I feel so official. I was sitting here and I was talking about being the product of the product and how we can help our team. But I thought about this very strong concept. I am a passionate pediatric provider. I passionately talk about taking care of kids. I talk about how I help tiny humans. And if you get me on a rant about medicine, I will just go on and on and on and on and on and talk 500 miles a minute. And I can say that in my profession, I'm an expert. People come to me for advice to take care of their kids. And I'm passionate about that. So if you're being a product of the product, you should be passionate to talk about Beachbody in the sense of, this is what I can do to help you. This is how the nutrition is. This is what the superfoods are. And that's why it doesn't compare to anything else on the market. I've done all the programs that have come out start to finish, and I know how to explain it to you and help you dive into nutrition. If you're struggling with any aspect of any of what I just said, you're not being a product of the product. If somebody were to come into my presence on the street and sit there and we're just having random conversation and say, man, they're really struggling with their energy level and they're really struggling with nutrition and they're really struggling with this, but they don't really struggle with getting into the gym, I would know automatically the boost, the focus energy boost is amazing for energy. If somebody's not really into a whole lot of fitness, Energize, I call it my superhero juice. It gets me up every single day. And To Be Mindset is all about nutrition. I can rattle those things off and in a random conversation in a store, start talking to a complete stranger about that. And there's no hesitation because guess what? I claim to be a health and happiness coach. That means that I'm an expert. So when I sit there and say I'm a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and a fired up health and happiness coach, I am experts in 2 areas in my life. And I will passionately definitely talk about it that way. So when you are being a product of the product and proof of it, you can speak to that. So own that. If that means that you need to do a little bit more homework and listen to the Shakeology podcast, that's amazing, then that means do it. Do it on your spare time. Do it on your free time when you're driving. Do things that are really going to give you back what you need to be able to speak and help other people. Because at the end of the day, there are 265 million people on this earth right now, well, I should say in the United States, that are dealing with being overweight and obese. That's 265 million people. Don't tell me that you don't have anybody to talk to, but I want to prepare you in a way that you have a message to say, that you know what you can talk to and how to help them. And then that goes right into the second vital behavior, invite. And I want to just speak to your heart really quick. And I'm not going to get emotional about this. I try not to every time I talk about it. If you are scared to invite somebody, I need you to think about if you were my coach and if you would have saved my life. How would you feel if you were that person that sent that message of just, hey, I hope you're having an awesome day. I just want you to know how amazing you are. And you had no idea that they had a gun in their hand. If you had no idea they were standing on a cliff somewhere. If you had no idea that they would come home to an abusive relationship and not know how to get out of it. If you are struggling with how to send an invitation, I want you to think back to that moment. Not that I want you to think about me every time you're sending an invite, but I want you to think about the power that comes behind that invite that you're sending out. You are sending out a message of hope. You are sending out a message that there is something more out there, whether it is in their health or their happiness, whether it is getting them back in shape or just surrounding them with the incredible women that I see here tonight on this call. You have a message, and not that I'm calling you a selfish human being, but if you're struggling with inviting, you're having a selfish tendency, why not share it with other people? Why not bring other incredible humans into this tribe? So don't struggle with the invite. Send out the message and send them out in mass quantities. One thing that I really think has resonated with my team is it takes 100 no's to get 3 yeses. So if you are really aiming for Success Club 6 every single month, sending out 100 messages should statistically get you those 3 Success Club, or those 3 people to hit Success Club 6. So if you're sitting there saying, well, Marie, I know we're pushing for this awesome goal and I'm sending out 5 messages a day, 5 messages times 7 days a week, times 30 or 31 days in a month doesn't quite equate to what you need. I'm not that great at math, so if anybody wants to pull out a calculator, they're more than welcome. But 5 messages isn't going to do it. It's a great start. But I think about when I'm coming home from a long day, when I've just seen a ton of tiny humans that literally just need everything. And it's not just the tiny humans, it's the parents who are worried about different stuff that I have to pour into. And then I come home and I'm like, I still have to be an expert in my business. I still have to show up for these people that need me. And I sit there and I'm like, I'm sending out 50 messages. And why do I have that mindset? Because I know what I want. I want financial freedom. I want to be debt-free by 30. I want to live a life by design that I can help give back to incredible, powerful women like you on this call. That's what I want. That's what's going to get me through the hard. So then when we go into the third vital behavior of recognition, I recognize what my team wants. And I talk about them all the time. I share them on my story. I talk about them in the team page. I get to see the whole big picture of what my downline looks like. I know who's working hard. I know where volume is. I know where Success Club is. But at the end of the day, I know what they want. One of my teammates literally came back from Summit and was like, her and her husband went on a trip. She stayed at this lake house and she was like, Mariah, I get it. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I get that you're saying it's not about your why anymore. It's about what you want. I want that lake house. I want to be able to take my kids and my husband to a vacation home on the lake and say that it's mine. That's what I want. And I was like, good, now go after it. She's hit Success Club ever since then. Like, she's fired up. She's passionate about it. So you have to really dig deep into what you want. And I'm not talking about the superficial BS of, I just want to help people be healthy and I just want to help people be happy. It's not about that. Like, you are going to help people be healthy and you're going to help people be happy. But what do you want? What is waking you up in the middle of the night, like the elephant that's on your chest, that's making you just like feel like, man, if this was gone, or if I had this, or if I got this in my life, a whole weight of the world would come off. For me, it wasn't until it was about 2.5 years into this business that I realized that coming home and working 7 days a week, going to school full time to get my doctorate, and literally sitting in my driveway crying, not wanting to go inside because I didn't know what version of my ex-husband I was going to see. I wanted freedom. I wanted to get out of that. So I leaned into my team. I recognized that my team was my tribe, and they supported me through the toughest moment of my life. 2017 was like, oh, man, it was hard. But I leaned in and I recognized what I wanted. I recognized what my team wanted, and I went after it. So really recognize your tribe, and not just in the superficial Success Club and volume and all that other stuff, but figure out what Marie's vision is as your leader. What is it that she wants? Same thing, Stacy, Morgan, Megan, I see you guys. I want to know what you want. So when I think about recognition, I think about truly building this tribe, a women empowerment movement of, seriously, Stacy, whatever it is that you want, I'm going to help you go after it. I don't know you from Adam, but sister, I love you and you're my soul sister, and whatever dreams you want, I believe in. Like, that's how passionate and fired up I am about this. So you guys have to figure out what you want, and then as a team, be like, let's go after it. Let's make it happen. And before I go into PD, the very last thing I want to say about that is my best friend and success partner, Morgan Brill, who's the other founder of Team Bold and Beautiful. She literally sat there and 3 months ago reached out to a friend of ours who has this public house media. He does podcasts on iTunes. And literally 3 months ago had told Baxter, that's his name, Mariah's going to come to you. And she's not going to come to you soon, but she's going to come to you at some point in time and tell you that she wants to do a podcast. I have never, ever, ever told Morgan that I wanted to do a podcast. Never. A couple weeks ago, I reached out to Baxter and I said, Baxter, I'm really thinking about being on a different platform and I want to do a podcast. And I'm getting chills. And literally Baxter goes, Morgan told me that about 3 months ago that you were going to come to me and want to do a podcast. I FaceTimed her and I was like, how did you know that? And she was like, Mariah, I know you. You're my tribe and I know what you want. And August 7th, I'll be launching my first podcast. It's called Your Life Matters. And that to me, like, I have chills. Your tribe, your vibe attracts your tribe, but your tribe, when you recognize who you're with, they know what you want and they're going to help you go after it. So then it brings us into our fifth point, PD, personal development. How many of you guys do PD? Raise your hand. Oh my God, my heart's so happy. Yes, good. Personal development is a must, whether that is a quick podcast that you're listening to, whether it is a motivational YouTube video, whether it's a national wake-up call, whether it's just an audio book or an actual book that you're like reading the paper and turning and really diving in. Personal development is huge. And I say it all the time to my team, and I know it resonates, but when you change your mind, you change your life. It's very simple. Your mindset right here between your forehead has to change. You have to get your challengers' mindsets to change. You have to get your coaches' mindsets to change before they're willing to run the business, lose weight, make working out a daily habit, before any of the being the product of the product, invite, recognition, before any of that can happen, you have to change your mindset. You have to be willing to dive in deep. Like I said, guys, you heard me say 2017 was a rough year. So I sat there and I set out a goal. I was like, I'm going to read 12 personal development books in the year 2018. Well, guess what? I'm on book 15 and I'm fired up about it. And I'm like, let's just keep going. But hear me when I say this. Do not read You Are a Badass. If you want to, guess what? I think you all are a badass. You are badasses. The reason why I know that is because you're on the call. Sorry if there's any kids around. You're a badass. That book is going to tell you 500 different versions of what I just said. You're a badass. I'm not saying it's a bad book. I read the book. It was great. But you are a badass. You don't need to hear that. Find personal development that you're struggling with. If you are struggling with your inner mean girl telling you that you aren't enough and you have self-limiting beliefs that you're never going to make this business happen, I want you to read Mastering Your Inner Mean Girl by Miss Melissa Ambrosini. It's an incredible book. That book changed my life. And if you are, and honestly, if you love to listen to audiobooks, Melissa Ambrosini's Australian accent just makes my heart so happy. So it's just worth listening to anyway. If you are really struggling with getting over yourself, Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. It's an amazing book. But then listen to me. If you are struggling and you are at the place where you are a leader and you need to figure out leadership skills, Leaders Eat Last. Great book. Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. These are books that's going to make you grind. One of the greatest books and gifts that Beachbody ever gave me, and it had sat on that little shelf back there forever, was The High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. I finally read that book and I'm like, game changer. This book is incredible. And it puts you in this mindset of just the compound effect and just constantly growing and figuring out different people. And it's not about, there's so many different intelligence tests that we try to get. And if you guys were at Summit, whether you're squiggly or circle or just triangle, whatever you are, it's really just developing those habits. The leadership book, Leaders Eat Last. That's the book, if that's what you're talking about. And then just really diving in. So I had a mindset change of, what do I want? And I thought about, what do I want in 5 years? I want to be debt-free by 30. So not that I'm like aiming to be a millionaire, not that that's a bad thing, but I was like, what is the millionaire habit? What is the millionaire mindset? The book that I just read, I can't say his last name. It's something like Russian. It's Dean Griskowski, and it's called, I'm pulling up really quick, Millionaire Success Habits. That book to me, he is very like logical and calm, but that book changed something in me. And that is after I was like, okay, I'm going to do podcasts. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be on different platforms and I'm just going to go for it. So guys, when you're looking into personal development, I want you to find something that's going to be beneficial for you. If you are not struggling with self-limiting beliefs or mental toughness, don't read something just because everybody else is reading it. Read what you need. There was a moment in time when all my girls were reading I Am That Girl. It's a great book, but I was like, I'm not really struggling with that. Like, again, I'm a badass. I know that. I don't need another book to tell me that. I think we're good. I need to figure out logically how to help grow my team because my team is going for a 5-star elite team and I need to figure out how to pour into them. How can I lead them in the right direction? So always, always, always follow what you need in your business. Everybody's business is very different. This is what I say to my team all the time. You put your social security number into that Beachbody application. You didn't put mine. Don't do what I do, and I'm not going to do what you do because this is your business. This is yours. You run it how you want to. Marie is a very successful, amazing human being, but she's amazing in Beachbody, and she decided to retire herself. That is such an incredible accomplishment. It fires me up that that is what she wanted. So I'm passionate for her. I will never, ever quit what I do. I love being a pediatric provider. I will never become a full-time Beachbody coach. So there are multifaceted ways to run this business. And you need to own that. I love owning the part-time hustle. I am a part-time hustler in this business. Do I run it like a full-time thing? Absolutely. But I'm not running it to be able to ever quit my job. So whatever it is that you want in this business, however you want your life to look, that's what I want for you. And before I finish and open it up for a Q&A, I want you to know that I love every single one of you. You guys are incredible women. You guys are incredible in such a just inspiring way. Like, I'm looking at each of your faces and I just love how intense you are. But I want you to know that if you're struggling with something right now, that I hear you. You don't have to talk. You don't have to unmute yourself. Life hits hard, and sometimes it just hits really hard. And sometimes it's hard to struggle with stuff, and sometimes it's hard to get through things. And just pushing through that adversity, pushing through and sending out that invitation, pushing through and recognizing somebody on your team, it'll help you get through the hard. It'll help you get through the tough, just going through it and being consistent and showing people that you're there. I think 2017 was a pivotal move for me, because even though I was going through so many things in the background that people didn't automatically know right away, I showed up for them. And when I came out and told them what happened, a lot of times it was like, holy cow, she still worked out. She still did her PD. She still drank Shakeology, and she overcame that. And I shared that with my coaches, and I share that with you guys. That's something that I want to empower you through. So whatever it is that you are going through, I want you to remember these 5 simple things. I am loved. I am wanted. I am needed. I am worthy. And I am more than enough. You deserve your wildest dreams. You are good enough for them. And I want you guys to have them. I want you to go after them and know that you have a friend in Arizona cheering you on. I love you guys. Thank you so much for letting me be here on the call with you.
I mean, like, how are you even supposed to talk after that? Jesus. Oh, I told you guys she was fire. I told you. Warned you all about that. Mariah, I just want to just honor you. I see you. I want to honor your spirit, and the vulnerability that you show up with is so intense and so passionate, and it's just so beautiful. And I always say, my team knows, and they're probably so sick of me saying, but your mess is your message. And you coming into this business from that rock bottom place, we all have that rock bottom place, right? It doesn't matter what it is, it's all different. But you coming into this business with that rock bottom place, that vision of that girl in that closet, like every time you send an invite or 50, you can think of that person and know what a difference you are making, even if it feels like what, willy-nilly or whatever. And I love what you said. You said, if you're not, or what did you say? If you're struggling with inviting, you're having a selfish tendency. And this is something that I had to get over really quickly in the beginning, because I realized me not paying this forward is me being full of ego, right? Because it's me thinking that I'm more important than paying this forward to somebody else, and me getting uncomfortable for somebody else. So I just love what you said about that. I wanted to ask you one question, and then because we only have like 7 minutes left, I wanted to open it up to anybody else that had questions. So if you guys do have questions, write them down real quick. I wanted to know, because you work as a nurse practitioner, doctor, hello, can you just share like a quick outline of what your coaching schedule looks like with that full-time crazy workload? I think that'd be really beneficial for people to hear about.
Yeah. So I definitely don't do power hours, and sorry for saying that for anybody who's an advocate about power hours, but I love time pockets. Yeah. So I wake up in the morning, my time is my own. I wake up at 3:45 so that I can really work my business. I'm an early riser. I get up. I have my Energize. I log into my coach back office. That's when I do recognition in my challenge groups. I respond to some messages and emails. If anybody needs a canned response that I send about information to anybody, that's when that happens. Around 5 o'clock is kind of when I shut down. So from 3:45 to 5 o'clock, I shut down, and it's me time. So at 5 o'clock, I get my workout in. I'm jamming out, listening to my music, listening to PD as I'm getting ready for work, and then I head to work. If there's time in between patients, when somebody calls out or something, or like no shows, I might send a couple emails or might send a couple messages, but most of the time I wait till lunchtime. So I'm really good about charting after I see each of my kids. And if not, then I chart while I eat, and then I work my business. And that's the way that I have it structured. I take usually the last 10 minutes and I do some meditation right before I have to go back to work, just so that I'm in a good mindset for the kiddos that I have to see in the afternoon, because I get an hour lunch. And then right after work, I get home, light my candles, and then I grind. And I grind for an hour and a half. That's what I give myself. And then I go to bed, or I chill and then go to bed. But that's what I do. I time pocket.
I love that. And you know what I hear from that? I just hear discipline and vision. So that's so cool. That's so key, because what you said when you talked about the 4 vitals, they're so essential. They're called the vitals for a reason, right? You need them to live and create a business. But you showing up and doing them even when you're so tired, even when you've got a shift that goes haywire, even when you get home and you're like, this is the last thing I want to do, even when you're going through the messiest divorce ever and trying to figure that out, right? You showed up. And I think that that's the key factor that I see in all of these successful coaches, and myself included. There's no other secret other than you just keep grinding and you don't give up. Keep grinding, don't give up. Pivot, change, don't give up.
Yeah. It's called, like, the one thing that I thought about is course correct. So when you go through anything hard, you course correct. I went through my divorce, it was course correct. I go through different changes in my life, got an advanced degree, course correct. It's not something that, like, you can feel what you're feeling, but you can't stay stuck there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Does anybody else have any questions? We've got about 4.5 minutes. If anybody's got a specific question for Mariah, she's open and honest and will answer your questions. I know this about her.
Well, I love how you talked about each coach is different in their own ways, because sometimes I feel like, oh God, I gotta be like Marie, and I'm not Marie. I can't be Marie. But yeah, so that was a good reminder. We're all on our own separate journeys, and coaching is gonna look different for each of us.
Yeah, and Stacey, the biggest thing that I can say is own your superpower. Marie is a superpower in her own light, but so are you. Whatever superpower you have, whatever it is that you really love doing, that's your passion, own that and run with it, because Marie's going to back you. I'm going to back you, but you'll create a different platform. You'll be able to speak to hundreds, if not thousands, of people that Marie can't reach. And all of it is just a benefit to Boomerang Wellness. Like, that's all it is. It's you guys working together to reach the masses. So own your superpower.
Yay, love it.
That was awesome. Anybody else have a question? We got about 3 minutes. Kind of love it that we have to work against the clock. It's kind of sick. I'm like, how much can we get in? Cram it. Okay.
You guys are so welcome.
Wow, girl, what a story. Thank you so much for sharing. Great call. I feel your passion. So many great points. Love it. Thank you. Megan says, thank you. Love this call. And I followed you daily on Instagram. You fire me up. Morgan says, agreed. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I loved everything you said. Hold the chills. Yeah, I know. Me too. I was like, is it cold in here, or is Mariah speaking? Because I'm pretty sure. I have to tell you something so uncanny. And like, it's not even at this point, I'm not surprised by it, but I haven't actually shared it with my team yet, but I'm launching a podcast in August. So when you said that, I was like, no fucking way.
That's awesome.
We will be in contact about some collaboration stuff, because that would be
yes. It's so funny that you say that, because I was going to actually ask you about it. I'm like, oh, I want to interview Marie for my podcast.
Yeah, girl. My date is August 16th, so that's so crazy. That's crazy.
Awesome.
Okay, we will chat about it. Okay, let me see if I can pull one more thing out of here from this. Okay, I know. Is there a ritual or routine or some kind of a habit that you have, like some kind of like a course correct, right? If you find yourself falling into like a mental slump, or you find yourself going back to old patterns and habits, is there something that you do specifically, or something you tell yourself specifically, like an affirmation that gets you out of that?
Yep. It's those 5 strong I am statements. And then usually I grab my essential oils, because I love essential oils. I have Stress Away and Valor, put it on my temples. I go somewhere quiet and I say, I am loved, I am wanted, I am needed, I am worthy, and I'm more than enough. And Mariah, it's going to be okay. Take a deep breath and course correct.
Boom. Mic drop. We have less than a minute. I love you. Thank you so much for showing up in a big way. My team loves you, and I'm going to post the recording and I'll share it with you as well to share.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, guys.